Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Shine Gaming and Esports Center. We've got PEC play week 1. We're back against the Kansas Jayhawks, this time for Valorant. Finally, one of my favorite titles. Haven't cast it in a very long time, but we've got an excellent matchup here tonight. Went to 3 games last time, and that was the final week of the season, so we're doing a bit of a reverse this time. I'm Carson Cass, and with me and my co-caster in the booth tonight, Ryan Blakenhorn.
Yeah, Carson, it's going to be good to see tonight. We got Kansas University. We got Syracuse. Like you said, a little bit of a switch up this time. Last semester we finished off with Kansas. This semester we're starting off with Kansas. So sort of a not too much of, in a sense, breathing room, right, to repractice. Now, obviously, these teams coming off that winter break, they've had some time to readjust, make some changes, which we have seen in this roster, by the way, I do want to mention, which we'll get to in a little bit. But, we've seen some changes. Obviously, they've had some time to practice, but it's also winter break, right? You want to spend some time with your family. You want to spend some time, not on a college campus, so you take your time, you take your relaxation. But now, starting back up with Kansas, seeing how things go tonight. Last night, we had a really close series between the Overwatch team with Kansas and Syracuse, falling short in a 5-map series, but it was an incredible game to watch. 5 maps, always good to watch, even if we're the ones that fall short. But that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, we play Kansas all week, obviously, as this is if you're new to this, PEC scheduling typically goes from Monday, which is not this week, because we are switching. The Monday is now Friday because of MLK Day on Monday. Yeah. So Monday's typically Rocket League, Tuesday is reserved for Overwatch, Thursday is Valorant, and Wednesday is Valorant, and Thursday is Super Smash Bros. Sorry, I am
that one day off really gets you sometimes.
Yeah, it does. I don't get days off, so I don't know why I'm losing it there. But we've got quite an interesting matchup. You see some of the players that we're going to be watching tonight. That is, I believe, Owen Padula, fall star from the offseason. Looking for some spring stars that be born tonight. Be a great win here for Syracuse if they can get this starting matchup versus Kansas. Rock Chalk Jayhawk, rock bottom, unfortunately, of the table. 0-7, have taken 2 games off 2 teams with a -12 round differential. And they're looking for their first win as a team rather than looking for placement towards Vegas. But it's been a really tough go for them. They ended the semester on a high note for them with a game win against Syracuse, which Syracuse came back, obviously, because we did win that game, and the Orange were there. And they took a game off Nebraska, and those players in Lincoln we struggled with 0-2 against them. Couldn't take a game off them. They could. So we could have an interesting game tonight. The Orange are 3-4 with a 42% win percentage, but some pretty interesting results we've had.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's sort of one of the big things to think about. And you briefly mentioned it. I'm going to touch on it a little bit more, right? That PEC, right? That final thing down in April in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's going to be something, right? All these teams really wanting to find their way there, which they will. But it comes down to seeding, right? Last semester, some of our rosters here at Syracuse, a little bit of a struggle time trying to find their way, right? But this semester now, that first semester is gone, not playing in barns anymore. You're here, you're in this wonderful new facility on the stage. Player cams, as we're obviously seeing right now, you get to see some of these great players. It's a different change, right? It's a whole new game plan now. It's a whole new game day as well, right? The pressure is on, the different sort of feel as you're on the stage. I was going to say on the desk, which we are in our new desk, right? But they're on the stage. It is. It's absolutely beautiful. You're beautiful, Carson.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. But as you go forward, right, on the new stage, right, it's a lot to think about. It's a lot you have to worry about as well, because not many of these players, it's the dream to be on that stage. It's the dream to be under the spotlight, to be under the camera. But once you're there, it's a whole new level.
It's your shot, and now you have to go do something with it. And Syracuse is going to be looking to do just that tonight. They're 3-4 on the season, as I mentioned earlier. 1 win coming off a forfeit from Ohio State, but the 2 teams they have beat are Kansas and USC. 2-0, 2-1 for Kansas, and a comeback victory that saw a lot of resilience needed after losing to a Jayhawk team that was reeling themselves. And the last week of the season, they really wanted that win. They couldn't get it, so they'll probably be hungry, looking for worms and such in this game. But Citrus in the Sin City will be big with seeding here. Yeah. This game is massively important. We're right in the middle of the table at 3-4. Yeah. It is a huge opportunity for the Orange tonight to get the right foot forward and just keep walking forward. You have a game next week against Ohio State, who's currently 3-3 on a 2-game win streak. You want to beat them. You want to get hot. And you want to go into the rest of this week, the rest of these weeks, on a good note, and losing to a 0-7 team would be, I think, a step
Not a
in the
great
wrong
way.
direction for morale.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And that is a big thing, right? With that morale, first game of the season, you want to prove that you can be here. You want to prove that you are definitely a team to beat, right? And with that Vegas play, right? Like you were mentioning, you're playing for the seeding, right? We briefly mentioned it. Every team will make it, but it comes down to the seeding. Who are you going to play once you get to be on that stage in Vegas? You don't want to be that team down in last place, because if you are, you might be going up against the Boise's or the Michigans, and that's going to be tough, right? In that first match, you don't really want to be that team in that sort of scary position going up against sort of these very strong powerhouses of this Valorant position right now. So you have to be careful, obviously, going into that, and that's why this semester is so crucial for a lot of these teams, not just for Valorant, but for Overwatch, Rocket League, and Smash as well. It is crucial to play well this semester so that you don't get put in a situation going up against Boise State or Michigan State.
Yeah, I mean, you have more LAN experience than me. I've never played in a LAN personally. State champion Call of Duty, by the way. But besides that fact, it is very, very important. Those LAN events, your seeding is massively important. If you go up against your Spartans in the world, your Broncos of the world, you're going to get slain by the Spartans or stampeded by the Broncos, because it's a tough one. And if they're more locked in than you, you go right down to the losers bracket, and you've got nothing to lose anymore.
Yeah.
And it's one of those situations where you don't want to be that team that has to go down to the losers bracket first round, and you know that, and it's just bad mental off. But if you get maybe the 3 seed, you can get to maybe play 2 teams before you play one of those powerhouse teams that you're not so sure against yourself about. But confidence is key, and a win here would put the Orange in the right direction, seeding-wise and morale-wise.
Absolutely, right? And, we'll have to see about that. And we did mention, right, there are some changes to this roster. Now, a couple of the newer players this team, Jono and Stomp, you'll see coming in, right? Those are 2 new players to this roster, but one big thing to mention, right, is going to be Hayabusa, the old coach for Syracuse, now taking his place among the roster, taking his place with the team. And, we're getting a quick little look here on the map of who we're going to be looking at. And of course, the newest agent will be played by none other than Pretz, the initiator, Tejo.
Tejo is the newest character, I believe, as well as Vice, the 2 newest characters. And the meta has definitely changed a massive amount since these 2 have hit the scene. So it's going to be really tough to see kind of where that is. I'm curious, though, with the Brimstone and the Sky pick, you've got definitely a very aggressive format here from the Orange. I think you can play this really flexible thing. I think you can play this setup really aggressively, or you can play it really defensively. And I think it's kind of them looking back maybe on the game they've had. The Jayhawks were really aggressive in that first game, and I think this lets them be aggressive when they want and more conservative when they need.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, right, on this bind especially, right, running this single controller, running that Brimstone. On the side of Kansas, going to see something a little bit different, though, right? That double duelist composition, the Jet and the Reyna running the Tejo and the Brimstone as well, but the Sentinel as the pick for Deadlock instead of that Vice. Something a little bit more intriguing, right? And, last few months here, Vice has been in an interesting spot, right? Not many people have been enjoying the player, especially as a single Sentinel, right? Something that has been a little bit interesting to play, but Deadlock as well in that position, but on a map like Bind, it can be pretty decent, right? It can be pretty good to actually play into that.
Yeah, and it really depends on what you're going for. There's a point of it where, yes, there is metas, and yes, there is things to play, but you have to be you kind of have to be the most, I guess, confident in yourself that you can. And if Vice is your best character, go out there and play Vice. It is what you need to do. And if that's what you need to do, I think it's kind of a matter of, at this point, you know who you are. And if you're trying to redefine yourself, it might be a little too late at this point. Syracuse is going to go with a bit of a sneaky approach towards the B site. Some looks towards A, potentially with Vice on that other side. We'll get right into the dog here. A bit of a scouting mission as they try not to get detected right off rip. Seems they basically have. As War gets one, Pretz goes down on the other end. Jayhawks, man advantage, 5-4 initially.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see here that first fall down. A net will go in, but will be a good pick there coming out from the side of Syracuse. 22 HP. One thing also I do want to mention, we see a couple of our players running right now. There hasn't been a broadcast since the regen shields have been introduced here. A good pick comes out once more by Owen here, but one thing to keep in mind with these regen shields, after time, it will begin to build back up after some time of not taking that damage. Something very different and unique to the game of Valorant that was recently added in the past couple of months. So you are going to see some of these players looking to play that, especially some of your duelists, right, that can take some damage, go in, and come back out.
Think of it like Halo is the best thing I can say, or maybe Titanfall if that's more your groove like me. On the other end, Hayabusa shooting down towards the thing. Jono gets one in Marcoris. Gonna go try and get a plant here. It's a 4-on-2 man advantage for the Orange. Planting now is Taya. Trying to go down. There seems to be maybe one left side for the Jayhawks, but we've got just angles holding up here. Orange are looking to do the best they can, get a round 1 victory, step forward in the economy.
Yeah, great way to start here. Both duelists, so really no good tools to go up against the Syracuse team. They have this in the bag if they play it correctly, right? They're looking a couple cross angles you see on the mini map up here on the top left. However, one will fall, and it will be the previous coach of Syracuse, Hayabusa, falling down there. Now need to look for a little bit more. Another one falls, but there is a trade. A 2-on-1 here for the side of Syracuse, and it will be the wonderful Jono who's able to take out that second pick and bring it back, and Syracuse take round 1, like you mentioned, Carson, getting that economy up and getting Syracuse in a more comfortable spot.
Jono with those aggressive plays. Angles were held correctly and moved forward when they needed to. That's a good 3K to start off and a good step in the right direction. You don't really want to give your other team hope in any form. Valorant has 2 forms of momentum, I like to call it, money momentum and mental momentum. If you start getting rolled, everything goes wrong. You can't afford the guns you want. You can't play the game you want to play. And it's all about shutting down the other team and how they play. If you can get a roll going, if you can get a streak going, it just makes it easier for them. Syracuse is going to go with a similar strategy this time towards B site, sneaking forward as they just go about it pretty quietly. As the Wolf goes on that left side, see if we can catch anybody with it. But it seems again, B is relatively abandoned. Just one noticeably there. Big jump on the right side. They're pinching. Bit of a sandwich there. War gets 1, but they go down to Owen.
Good way for Syracuse to start as that plant goes down, finding that early pick onto that deadlock. Going to put them in a good spot. There's no sentinel utility you have to worry about now. Obviously, some good smokes are going to come in, but Syracuse knows how to play them. A 3-on-2 here, but a great pistol comes in from the side of Kansas Angel.
That is the wrong place, wrong time. 2 defenders in the smoke. 2-on-2, 2-on-1 now. Stomp gets Carnival Engine for the Jayhawks, but last one there. Stomp gets him. Angel, 2-0 Orange right off the rip, and that is a good start lead and good round 1, round 2. It's tough to win round 2. That's the most important one to win if you want to get that roll going. The Orange will be looking to take a bit more of a dominant win to start the second semester off.
Yeah, and now with this, right, both these teams going to have the money to buy this bonus round now here for Syracuse, able to buy if they so choose, or they can take a step back and keep the weapons that they did just have. But now with this, right, very important round for Kansas to come back in. Like you were mentioning earlier here, Carson, the snowballs can be very, very gruesome if you don't stop them fast. That economy snowball can happen if you aren't careful. The Syracuse going to be a lot more aggressive this time, going in onto this A site.
Different site initially, big change there. Marcoris, Pretz just gets put into a sandwich there. 3-on-5 advantage for the Jayhawks. Angel gets one more. They didn't look to the left side, and that's cost them big. Smoke is down. Orange are kind of just holding at this point. They're on the back foot here. As they get a trade, Hayabusa goes down to Angel. They get bullseye in the process. Trying their best here, but they're going to have to go more of a back foot here. It's 2-on-4. They don't have the advantage. 3-on-5 is a bit different of a game because you have more space to cover, but you're losing angles at this point, and you're going to try and go for a more centered push, like through Bathroom on A.
Yeah, and now with this, Syracuse does have bomb in, does have that spike in their hands, does have a minute to play around with, right? But you also got that controller, you got that initiator on lock. You have some good things going for you. A nice pick comes out, but the trade will be there. It's now a 1-on-3, and if you're Syracuse here, you know, you got to play it safe here. We're going to see some of that Teo util come out. A nice headshot, though.
Onto the shoulders of Stomp here. Gets one, trying to get out of Mouthhouse, but goes down to Marcoris. 2-1 Jayhawks. Got the Reina there, but just wasn't enough for Teo.
Yeah, wasn't quite enough there, but very well played coming out from Syracuse, right? Changing up that momentum. That's one thing we saw coming in from last semester was a little bit of a struggle, right? They didn't know how to fully switch up how they wanted to play, right? Sometimes they played aggressive, they mostly either played aggressive or they played passive. They didn't really make any changes. This time we're seeing that change, right? The aggressive play style didn't really go the way they planned it to, but that is okay, right? Now you've played that. That was also your bonus round. You can buy your guns back here. You're in a good spot, and you have some ults to play with, which we are going to see is already coming out from Owen.
Yeah, right off rip here. You're going to get some space initially with this ult. Good value if you can get it right. Nobody really seeming to have gotten caught in it potentially, but definitely went off if they were in that corner. It lets Syracuse play a bit more aggressively on A. You want to find out the way you want to play. Initially, Hayabusa gets bullseye. There's one more in the shower room. Pretz gets Angel, and Syracuse has an opportunity to push pretty aggressively here. They won't do it. Right on the other end, Teja got down by Owen. They head towards site. Spike goes down. Only one lost, and it's to a judge as Cardi. Ooh, no! That's a collateral. 2 down for Lorena.
Very well played coming out from Kansas, right? Not getting too greedy, being patient. A good net comes in, and another one. The ace comes in, and Kansas stays alive. Is they're going to even up this series here, Carson?
Disaster for the Orange. That is not how you want to do it. You have a 5-on-3 advantage, but they have the money momentum still, or you don't have, rather, you don't have the snowball going the other way. That's 2 rounds in a row for the Jayhawks. You don't want to let momentum get forward and get on them. That is a really, really good swing for the Jayhawks there. They just did it right. I mean, you play the ankles right, and a bit of a luck with the Reyna thing and moving towards right, and just a collateral right off rip, and got one more who was not expecting the Reyna to peek that way. Just aggression helping the Jayhawks in a way.
Yeah, we're going to see Syracuse here on that thrifty buy, right? And back over to B site, a site that worked pretty well for them previously. Going to go back on over here, and they're going to look to play slower, look to play a little bit more passive, wait for a mistake to come out. Deadlock from the side of Kansas, though, is going to start putting some pressure, already knowing that Syracuse is here. We have a good split push for Syracuse, but they need to make some things happen, force out some util if they want to find any sort of way in before that 1-minute mark.
Bit disjointed running the spread offense here on the right side towards A. We have just a bit of a peek on the Marshall. See if we can get anybody there, but Teja going to push into the objective site. Not going to be there is Carnival Engine. Just Jono not looking the right way. Fortunate, the revolver here trying to get through the wall. Misses the shot. Has to back off here. 4-on-5 favoring the Jayhawks. Flash goes out. Angel gets Hayabusa on site. Owen and Pretz, though, trade for 2. Back to 3-3. No odd man rush for the Jayhawks here anymore. As, right out of the smoke. Hello, bullseye. Down goes them.
Yep, good pick comes out there from Syracuse. That 3-on-2 now. Looking for that value, right? A lot of things were happening. That spike goes in as well. And, you know, luckily for Syracuse here, you're in that good spot, but the Reyna for the side of Kansas is going to pop that ultimate, going to be a little bit scary to work around. Double initiator and controller on the side of Syracuse. You have a lot of util to work with here, and you might want to take advantage of that, right? Use some of that stealth drone coming out from Tejo as well. Try to find some value there. We are going to see goes in, will be some of that util, but not going to find anything that looks like here, as now the site's going to start to be contested. There goes the grenade, but won't be able to find anything, but there it is, as Owen will find a nice 2-piece, bring Syracuse back on that thrifty round.
A great 3K on thrifty, beating a Reyna ult. That is exactly what the Orange needed there. 3-2 advantage for the Citrus. I was trying to think of a good nickname there, but I couldn't use anything. There was nothing in my mind there that went well. Citrus is a tough word to rhyme.
It is.
I can make orange rhyme with banana. Banana.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that knock-knock joke ever again.
Hey, come on.
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana, Carson?
All right, no more orange, you glad. I think I already exercised that one way too fast. So.
Well, you know. But point is, right, Syracuse, great round for them to squeeze out of that one there. And now they have some ultimates in their favor to be able to use here. That Vice ult could be very, very crucial for them, right? Try to take out some good things, but Pretz with a nice 2-piece will start him off strong.
3-piece. Bullseye gets Pretz, unfortunately, right at the end of that, but that is a good trade the Orange will take. You get more space. 3-2. War gets Owen on the other side. Split push is looking okay, but they still have some defenders towards the B site. Up top, they know there's one up in that right side. Ooh, Cradle there. Stomp. Gets War, but War gets down to Jono. Here's a 1-on-1. Spike goes down. Jet is ulting, so she has the one-shot headshot if she can get it. They know it's on the other side. Flash coming out. Sky pushing out. Here comes the smoke. Trying to find a way to get close quarters is the Jet. Jet goes up. Stomp. Gets Bullseye.
A great kill coming out there from another one of the newer players to the side of Syracuse. Stomp. A beautiful kill there, and that'll put Syracuse up another 2 rounds here, putting them at a really good economic advantage. They won that thrifty, and now they're here. They're doing a good job, right? Looking for some more. The ultimates still rotating pretty well for both of these teams, though, right? Having some good util there. Both Teos have that ultimate. For everyone curious what that is, it's basically a barrage of just unlimited missiles that go across the point. Very dangerous. You don't want to be in the middle of it. You probably will be sent back to a little bit of a gray screen if you do. So don't want to be in the middle there, but can be very good for Syracuse, especially with this Vice and Teo.
It's fairly similar, kind of like a reskin Brimstone ult. I kind of
yeah.
think of it in a way. Smokes come down towards the B site. Bit of an aggressive push from the Orange here. 2 up top, 1 up down. Here comes one ult from Teja on the orange side. There it is. You can see it right there. They match it on the other side. One goes down. There's a cocoon on site. They keep it all alive, though, as Hayabusa, Maracus, and Jono all involved in kills there. It's 2-2 now remaining on site. One more goes down to Angel. It's a one-on-one in the orange. Take it. Hayabusa gets one from up top.
I was very chaotic, right? We saw a lot of things happening really, really fast. You know, we saw basically 5 ultimates used there. Actually, no, that was all 6. The Brim was able to build that last round. Excuse me. All 6 ultimates used, right? With those Teo ultimates, throwing those in can be very, very dangerous, right? And with that deadlock, now we're seeing what that value is, right? Sort of with that Vice compared to that deadlock, right? That deadlock and that Vice can both look for some more holding down, right? Some punish on some of those other targets, and we saw that happen, right? That deadlock putting some great damage just by keeping them netted into that Tejo ultimate, and able to get a nice kill there for the side of Kansas. And then besides Syracuse, they were able to find one as well. The bullets started throwing around, and eventually Syracuse won in that chaotic fight.
And the recon bug thing on that left side for Syracuse. Another aggressive push here as they look to lean into the Jayhawks. 5-2. Stomp gets a bullseye on bullseye as they move towards the objective, towards Bathhouse. You see one there. Hayabusa gets Marcoris behind. They're still getting really aggressive and just removing the net right on sight. Stomp gets mussed by War. I mean, there's 3 people peeking that. That's tough for the Jayhawks. You can't really do much of anything as a wall bang. Angel goes down. This is rough for Rock Chalk Jayhawk Nation here.
Yeah, I mean, with this, right, Kansas, you're seeing them use their util in a relatively good way, but the problem is they're not prepared for what's on the other side of that, right? A lot of these smokes have been really good for the side of Syracuse. Owen, your Brimstone player, using those smokes. The judge, though, will find a nice pick, but Syracuse is ready, waiting in lamps here. But wait, maybe not ready enough as I say that. They're able to take one out. But as I was saying, Kansas, right? They're using their util well, but Syracuse is really playing with these smokes, and it's proven to help them a lot.
Look, it's wrong place, wrong time. The last thing you want to be is knife fight in a phone booth with a judge fight in a phone booth when you don't have the judge. Reyna kind of just can walk in there and take as much space as she wants and kind of decimate everybody in that room if she hits her shots. And she did, but you have to kill an entire team there. It was a 1v5, and it's tough to do with a judge, I'll tell you what. And you saw immediately Brimstone leaving that room because Brimstone knew that that was the advantage there for Reyna. So a lot of smart players here, and I think that's one thing that the Orange have been looking to do is just play smarter, play more as a team, and the better we play together, the more we can take the Boise States and the Michigan States of the world, because this team can compete, and they have. They've competed in some of these games, but they just need to do a little bit of a better job as playing together, more concise, and it takes time, and these guys have taken the time. They practice quite a bit every week. On the other side, here comes B. Jono gets one. War goes down. A flashed Reyna still able to get stomped. Here comes the other side. I don't know if you look towards the right side. That was really aggressive. Whew, I thought Reyna was going to peek, but I guess not. Reyna is ulting on the Jayhawk side.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Syracuse, surely you know that Reyna was there, right? You know that Reyna is going to be close by. Popping that ultimate is a little bit scary, right? But you have a good split, right? A lot of your players on A here looking to closely rotate around here, as now Syracuse looking for some value 4-on-4 here, right? You have that Brimstone ultimate to use when needed, which is no problem at all, right? You have that ability to really push it back if you need to. Syracuse still playing patient, still playing normal, right? To get further onto this point as we approach us 30 seconds, though, Syracuse needs to make something happen.
Yeah, and it's a tough thing here because you're trying to play the time to advantage because then they're panicking. Are we in the right spot? They're taking a really long time. And they've gone a bit of a split push here, but Cardavillini gets one there. Owen goes down. A trade on the other side. 3 kills for that Reyna, but it's a 10-second push. They have 2-on-3. Odd man rush for the Jayhawks, and that's what happens when you get not enough time. Angel gets Hayabusa down, and this will just be a bit of a save as he's going to go jump through that portal and deal with it later.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Syracuse, it's the best thing you can do right now. But 6-3, not a terrible loss, right? You can afford to let the other team, let Kansas take that, right? That's not a problem much at all. So going forward with that, you know, making that sort of movement forward, right? And we are going to see, you know, that timeout comes out as well there. So definitely making some changes, making some things sort of work in both ways, right? We've seen Kansas make some really good value with their util, but like I said earlier, right, walking into some of these smokes, they've been played so perfectly for Syracuse to recontest and re-engage onto that even when we're seeing a lot of really good nets coming out from the deadlock on the side of Kansas, they just can't quite find that value.
Yeah, Deadlock's a little bit tough of a character to deal with. It's spider net, you get cocooned, and then you can't really do anything, and your team just kind of has to sit there and watch. But the Jayhawks haven't been supporting it enough.
Yeah.
They have Deadlock alone on point, which kind of nullifies a lot of our abilities because you can't really use them when there's person has 4 other teammates ready to go right there. Syracuse has been very hard on those aggressive, fast, just general pushes with everybody. They went split one time. They don't really want to, I guess, give Kansas a look that they don't want to give them. They need to use it later. That's the first time Kansas has dealt with that aggressive push in the right way, and you saw them have to split back and go to the other end and go to the other end entirely. So it's an interesting situation because now, what do you do if you're the Orange? You just called timeout. You just had a 4-round run.
Yep.
Jayhawks ended your streak. Economy's still in the right direction. Jayhawks are still struggling a little bit. What do you do here? And the answer for them is a split push.
Good stealth drone comes out from Teo. Is going to put a lot of information out for the side of Kansas, and that's going to start them early, right? It's going to put them in a good spot. I mean, we've seen players like the Rainer for the side of Kansas playing really well. They're able to find their good picks there, right, with that judge. Able to play judge, able to play jury, but weren't quite able to find executioner and able to find those 2 pieces. Not quite enough, but we've seen it a lot from these players, right? They're able to find these nice 2 pieces. But Syracuse, one of their biggest struggles, not a struggle we've seen so far, finding those trades, looking on those cross angles, and making sure their teammates are not going to die in vain.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a bit of an aggressive push on both sides here, taking space on both ends, trying to not let them know where the spike is. See it.
Going forward here.
Never mind. No aggressive on this side. We've got a bit of Jeopardy music as we slowly go through the showers here. Have some smokes coming down. The other side is they do the same thing. Smokes. It's not a smoke. It's completely.
It's a little. For those curious, it's kind of like a weird grenade-looking thing.
Macarus gets 1, Bullseye gets 2, and that is the death of A site or B site flat out. As Angel and Cardavine, that is a quick roll. That is a very quick roll for the Jayhawks who take that time out, and they played so much more aggressively. Those were angles that they were not taking earlier. That was a confidence boost for them for sure. 6-4 economy now headed towards the other direction, towards Lawrenson. So. What do you do if you're the Orange here? What do you talk about? What kind of thing do you think you're going to do?
I mean, if you're the Orange here, right, you're on that Thrifty again, but you've won the Thrifty before. The biggest thing is, Kansas, they changed up their play, right? They made it different. They made it unique. And in that process, they took you off guard, right? They took you by surprise. And during that, they took the round as well, right? So if you're Syracuse, right, you got to keep your head on a swivel, right? You cannot sit back. You cannot relax. You've got to stay in the game the whole way through. Keep your head in the game because if you don't, Kansas is going to pull things out like this and they're going to take advantage of it, right? I mean, just like that, Kansas finding another pick as well. Some great zoning coming in from this Tejo with that special delivery. And once again, this Tejo from the side of Kansas just getting massive value.
Good shot there by Stomp, but that is just... there's nothing you can do there. You have to hit that shot. Markarus running over the Orange team in that hallway as Bullseye gets Stomp. And that's the round 6-5. Jayhawks are 1 round away from equalizing it. That's kind of where you have to understand this is not maybe working out for us, and you put yourself in a phone booth there and just kind of let the Jayhawks take pot shots at you. If as aggressive as they've been hitting their shots. You have to respect that, and you have to push as a team together. At this point, we're going last round before the swap, 6-6. We go to the other side, 13-4. The win, by the way, I don't think we ever mentioned how Valorant worked, but 13 to win, by the way, so 12-12. You go to overtime, win by 2 condition is pretty standard for esports, but best of 3 matches here, so we'll play 3 games, the first map, and I don't know, second map or third map or how that's decided, so we won't talk about that.
Get there as we get there here as, Kansas trying to find their way to even up this series before we get into this half here. And already going to start aggressive. The Deadlock will throw the ult out, the wall, excuse me. That's definitely not Deadlock's ultimate. But the grenade will help put it down. The stealth drone already used from Teo earlier on there, not quite finding the value needed. But Showstopper out and ready to go. Looking for value, is going to be trapped, but won't find anything.
Yeah, Jayhawks are pretty conservative on this site here. Going to basically let the Orange plant, and if they don't take the space here, I'd be pretty concerned if they don't plant on this site. Brimstone there coming towards the site finally now to throw it down. On the left side, we've got angles here for the Orange. Everybody on site and everybody ready to go. But oh no, great swing by Kansas. Not so great by Bullseye. They get 1, they get 2. Jono goes down to Angel there, and we're just going to wait for Pretz here. Spike is not down, and Jost gets caught up top.
Yeah, I mean, Syracuse, you know, you were playing a little bit passive. You got on the point. You got there. You cleared the point, right? Yeah, you didn't have all the angles, but you should have just gone for that plant, right? I mean, you had it there. You were on the site. You were ready to go. You know, you could have played a little bit more defensively there, waiting for your teammates to sort of get prepared and set themselves up, but not placing that spike down. We see that, you know, Kansas starts to push in, so you don't even have a contingency plan to play safe there. In return, we see Pretz had to take that duel, did not really have the opportunity to play time or play the touch on the spike, and just had to go for the ego or had to go for the duel against 3. And I mean, unless you are just the best player in all of the world, I don't think you win a 1v3 there.
It was a few pixels away from ending up in the direction of the orange, so got to give them credit there, but can't take those fights, have to take better things. If you know that they're all can all come out of one angle, you have to have someone that can watch multiple angles, someone up top, like Pretz, who was up there, wasn't close enough to the window to assist in any way. So it's about positioning, and is that what you want to do? But we're defensive here. Is into the phone booth we go. One there for me. Me goes down to Angel. That's not me. That's just me. But that's
good old Owen.
Good old Owen. Shows up only on Owen's screen as me, so that's pretty interesting. One more there. Oh, no. Through the smoke. Jono gets one. Here comes the grenade. Nope. Gonna just take a step back, relax in the shower, maybe get a bit of a steam bath as they go back to the right side. Jet, the only one remaining on site, throwing a grenade out, trying to take as much space as we can. Jet knows they know the Jet is behind the box, and Jono gets it done. Spike is planted. They just have to defuse. Fairly good round for the orange.
Yeah, good way to start off this defensive half here. We saw some good trades going back and forth, some util used as well from either of these teams, but Syracuse, right, once again, those smokes, playing them really well and taking full value and full advantage when they get there. And just like that, Syracuse taking this first round in this defensive side will put them in a very good spot. Couple regen shields, once again, to mention, are being bought out by, once again, these duelists to be seen. And now with this, Syracuse can play a little bit more aggressive. They have some heftier guns. They don't got the Vandals or Phantoms quite yet, but some heftier guns to use here as they approach the second round. And once again, we're seeing something a little bit similar to what happened in round 1 here.
Yeah, we're seeing a bit of an aggressive setup here from the orange. Curious to see what they're going to end up doing here. They have the money. They have the ability to be aggressive, so they're going to maybe just give it a shot, see what happens. They have the advantage, so they're going to take it. You should just take what you have, and that's what's going to go on here. Pretz has the Phantom, gets one, goes down instantly, and that gives the Phantom to the Jayhawks. 3-4 odd man advantage for the other side there. All the way from Lawrenson, it kind of felt like they pushed. Everybody was on A. Goes the wrong way, unfortunately. And Spike goes down. Orange have 3 to try and collect in a tight area here as down goes Owen. Bullseye gets one. A swap there. Macarus gets one. Jono able to trade there. It's a 1v3. All on Jono's hands. See what they can do here. 2 shots left on the Guardian. Peeks left. Tries to get one. It doesn't go. Just hiding behind the wall. Jet, they know there's 2 right there. One more up top. They know where everybody is at this point. They just need to get one. There's one, but goes down to Bullseye, who's going to get the 3K for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, and once again, now we're going to see the sort of even match start to even itself up again here. Kansas, they've made some good adjustments, right? Especially on this attacking side, right? I think we're seeing this more aggressive play really play into that double duelist a lot better for them now, right? On this attacking side rather than defending side. On that defense, unless you really have that site secured, it's a little bit more difficult to really re-engage. But now we're seeing some really good value coming out, especially from this Jet in this arena, able to go in on this initiator, controller, sentinel, right? You're not doubling up on anything other than these duelists, and it's giving them this opportunity to walk in, engage, get a quick pick, and because of the way that Jet and Reyna, their characters are built, you are able to get out really, really fast.
Look, we've got a tight matchup here already in 7-7. You're going to tell us we got to go a long night in here. Bullseye gets one, and Angel does 2. Orange lose 2 initially off B site. They again have to play with 3, trying to recover Laboratory. This is not a good start again. This is one of the worst positions to be on this map. This is the hardest point to retake. You have very big choke points. And the orange get it right in the one direction. There's 2 for Pretz. Has the chance for one more. Jet hiding behind that wall. Looking towards the right side. Just going to go get rid of that teleporter on the ground. No shots remaining. Has to reload and peeks without a bullet. Cardaville gets 2. It's a 1-on-3 situation again with only a revolver. Can't hit a shot there and unfortunately goes down. That is real rough.
Yeah, and with that, with the side of Syracuse now, I think this is their first time going up behind Kansas in this series so far. So got to make some adjustments here. And the biggest thing I need to see from Syracuse is I want to see them really make some changes on their re-engages, right? The biggest thing we're seeing right now is a lot of these times, right, we're seeing 3 members have to recontest a point, right? And if that means that you have to force 2 of your players who are playing over on that B site to back up so they can recontest together, that may be the play. Because right now, you are forcing yourself to 3-stack onto that re-engage, against this 5, and it's very difficult, especially in a choke like you're mentioning like that, unless you're fully rotating, taking that extra 20 to 30 seconds, there's not much you can do.
Look, if I'm the Jayhawks, I'm doing the same thing until it doesn't work, and the Orange are playing the same defense, so they're very confident in what they have here. Jet on the other side has an ult. Raze has one on our side. I'm curious to how they're going to play this because the Orange now have 3. They have an extra defender towards that B side now. But Kansas shouldn't be changing if it's working extremely well. They've had the same result on 2 different pushes. You want to maybe look somewhere else, but you have a snowball going. 1 more in the Orange. Basically have to play thrifty no matter what. They're taking it real slow here, maybe towards A as Owen goes down on that A site. Ward towards the other side. Can't hit that shot. That is a must hit, unfortunately, towards the other end. Grenade comes down. Reyna I goes up. Doesn't get any value. Coming down here, we've got an ult here. Rocket launcher towards the other side. No value, unfortunately. Owen gets Carnaby on that other side. Really just a slow push from Kansas, and it's not working out as Margaris catches Jonah with a good angle. Hayabusa on the other side gets Angel, and that looks like it's going the other way. Spike was down on B site.
Yeah, but that's what I want to see from Syracuse, right? You play a little bit more patient. You played for your team. Flash goes in, though, on the side of B. And right now we're looking at this Vice, as well as we're going to see the Brim start to walk in, look for some help.
Aggressive push here from Kansas, and it goes nowhere. Owen with a 3K. Stop gets bullseye on bullseye. Real good answer from the Orange there. 8-8, we're all knotted up.
Yep, exactly, and that's what you want to see, right? I really liked how Pretz played that on the Teo, right? Sort of just played patient, waited a little bit closer to that B site, didn't want to put themselves on the site, but played close enough to be able to rotate when needed, being able to use that being able to use that ability, that special delivery, so they're able to put in those missiles and put some good pressure in without sacrificing themselves, right? That's one of the biggest things that Teo has the ability to do, just keeping himself far away from the fight and still putting so much pressure in, like you said, with that Brimstone smoke, just make it do damage, and that's what you got for Teo.
Yeah, Teo feels like a Brimstone concept in a completely different way, with a lot more damage and a lot more special kits. It's a super fun thing. You got, again, at 2 on the B site for the Orange, and they get forced off, but they don't take any down. Or rather, there goes Owen on that other long peak. They don't lose any initially as Owen goes down, Spike comes down. They have an opportunity, though. They're going to contest together, which is the big thing they've been missing. I feel for a lot of this is they've just been contesting alone, letting one person go at a time, and you're unfortunately lining up for the schoolyard and all going to recess.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to see the ultimate from Teo goes in. Vice is able to find 2. And just like this, Syracuse, the trades are going to go out. But at the end of the day, Syracuse will come back on top. Will able to find this round, and they're back up in this series here.
Now that is pushing as a team. Have to have the Jayhawks on their feet here. This is going to be a thrifty buy because they did buy this time. So the Jayhawks are basically in a must-win scenario here. You're going to dig yourself into a huge hole if you can't get any value out of this. The Orange need to play this well. And we're going to see a timeout here from the Orange, who are going to talk this over a little bit more. What is the best thing you've seen, you think, from the Orange side here that they've changed in that round 2? Because they've obviously been a little bit less streaky. Yep. They went on 4, lost 4.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing, right, I was mentioning it earlier, I wanted to see them be able to still defend that B site, but maybe not commit the battles, right? Don't commit to those duels so that you don't have 3 members walking onto point and trying to fight that. Instead, we saw a little bit of a further back, right? We even saw Pretz looking in to play with that Teo, putting in some pressure without actually sitting on that site. One of the best things about Teo's kit. And because of that, you were able to see, right, Vice was able to step back a little bit when needed. And because of that, Syracuse was able to step back fully, re-engage as 5. Some beautiful picks came in. They were able to start to take some of that defense and bring those rounds back in their favor. But I will say Kansas, they've made some very, very good strides, right? Getting on those points. And like I said, I was mentioning earlier, that double duelist composition is why it has been so good for them.
I will say, running in like that, like you mentioned, with just by yourself trying to defend it, trying to get so much value out of one person, it's like playing basketball without a play. It seems like it's going well, and to the untrained eye, maybe that's what kind of you should be doing, but you can't just win your game with your LeBron here. you don't have 2016 LeBron on this team. He can't go in there and win the game instantaneously. So it's tough because you have to play as a team, and they're doing a much better job of that, as you mentioned. Even right here, Me gets one with the value on the Molotov. Or rather, Owen, I keep saying Me. Owen gets one, Marco Riss gets their own teammate back in the fight. Or, no, they killed their own teammate. I apologize. That is...
Good old Teo ultimate there, folks.
Good old Teo ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, but with that, though, right, Syracuse now, 2 ultimates to their favor. They know where the team is. A great stealth drone will come in. And just like this, Syracuse probably has this one in the bag.
Owen gets 3 there. It's left to a 4-on-1. It'll go just all right for the Orange. That's 10-8, a massive lead on the Thrifty buy for the Jayhawks. This is the momentum they need. And this is exactly, I think, what the Orange needed to get this game. They lost that game 1 against the Jayhawks in Week 7 of the fall series. We're back in Week 1 in the spring. Get this off to a right foot. Get the game on. Go 2-0. Give yourself the space. Give yourself the breath of fresh air that you need. Go into this game 2, not trying to play from behind. It's the last thing you want to do on a Wednesday night with school tomorrow. You might be thinking of a lot of things, but I think these players on the stage, the coolest part about this is I think in their own worlds entirely. It's so cool that I think sometimes in different spaces, maybe you can think a lot more, even a lot more distractions. But up there, they are the main show, and I think they feel like that. And a lot of the time, maybe that can be scary for some players, but they've risen to the challenge. They've got 3 ults on the Syracuse side, 2 for the Jayhawks as we start round 19.
Yeah, with this here, Syracuse also going to have the operator out. Won't be able to find the pick, but will find one. Will be Vice Hayabusa there. A great pick trade coming out, though. Syracuse looking to find some value. Good kite back will come in from Syracuse, but now 3-on-3 as Kansas is now going to take this aggressive.
Jonah with the quick scope. That is huge. Stopping the push. I think Spike went down on that end. Owen gets one more with that ultimate. That is just perfect execution from the Orange. Jonah with a honestly random shot seemingly right into where the smoke goes, catching one Jayhawk down. It's the 3-on-1. They have space, though, and they do have sight, and they have Spike right in front of them. Here comes the scouting drone, I guess I would say, from Deha. They figure out where it is, and it might be game, set, match point. Oh, no, that's actually 10. 12 is match point. Whoops. But game, set, almost match point for the Orange here if they can find Brimstone in B Garden.
Yeah, and notice how safe they're playing, right? They don't want to ego this. They know they have this round in the bag. They don't need to pressure this out. I believe they know where Spike is as well. We are going to see a great Teo ability going to come out there as well. The fight starts out, and Pretz finds it, right? And just like that, right, you see the missile come out, but not going to be needed. It forces that Brim to take a corner, but that's one of the biggest things with this Brim and this Teo, right? You have the ability to, I mean, yes, you have a great random shot come out through the smoke coming out from coming out there at the end from Jono, which is absolutely priceless to see, but you also have the ability as a Brim and as that Teo, you can sit completely off point, basically half the map away, and still be able to defend your point.
I mean, you're playing computer. You're long distance. You don't have to be there. Got some social distancing. Sorry if I've brought up any memories for some people, but you can play it so far away that you don't need to put yourself in danger, and they are watching the spike and controlling the main site beyond the wall already. Bit of a missed shot there. 2-on-2 for the alts, though, as down goes one. Here comes the ult from Deadlock, though, pushing towards the other side. A-site heavily for the Orange, but a really good start for the Orange. I think that's going to be Brimstone dead there. Yes, Reyna gets one, or rather, Reyna goes down to Jono. Jono gets 2. War. The other victim there on that other end. Spike has come down, though. Brimstone, it gets 2 in the other end. It's 2-on-2. Jayhawks get rid of their odd man advantage for the Orange. Pushing forward now. Jono on that right side, maybe pick something else up. But here comes a Brim ult, barely able to stay out of it. It's a 1-on-2 opportunity. Pushing left is oof.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Sometimes you get put in those situations, right? We did see the Vice ultimate come out, but I don't believe it found any value with it. And, because of that, you did see Kansas able to still use their weapons to their fullest ability. And Syracuse wasn't able to really capitalize off of that. Also, one member falling a little bit earlier on the side of Syracuse. But 11-9 here for the side of Syracuse's favor. In a good spot. You have the guns. You have the econ here. Kansas will be able to match you after that last round, so you're going to have to be careful. You are going to have duelist ultimates on either side. Jet with the knives, Showstopper for the Rays. So both have very good engage or re-engage tools.
This is one of the most important rounds in the game because it's basically match point if you can win this here. You're going to be playing a thrifty round if you're Kansas. If you cannot get enough picks here and enough, I guess, money out of this round if you lose it. But And obviously going for the match win here as they look like they're headed for more a B push. Bit of an aggressive look here from the Orange. Jono gets bullseye, goes down to war as the knife is out, unfortunately, for Owen, as Markaris gets one with the help of 2 more Jayhawks.
Yeah, gruesome to see what Kansas is able to do with this Teo and Deadlock, right? With that special delivery onto that net, and it's been working so well.
Just watching up top here. Looks like we're going to maybe get a push from the Jayhawks. They maybe are switching. This is an interesting decision that they've had. They have the man advantage, and they're going to take it slow. Slow and steady does win the race, especially when you have the man advantage. Now it's down to 1. Just Sky in B Gardens. And if they really want, they could go all out here and just go to the other site, but they're going to try and pinch Sky. Sky unable to get any as Markaris goes down. Stop.
Yeah, I mean, with that, you know, Kansas starting to bring themselves back into this series here. Now 1 round deficit behind Syracuse, and Syracuse now on the thrifty for the most part here, if I'm correct. And I mean, this is where things start to get really scary. We haven't had to talk about it because, you know, we're in that sort of last round-ish area, but you have to pay attention to your econ, right? You don't want to be on round 12 and have no money, right? So if you're Syracuse, right, you're looking to maybe not full buy here, but it looks like we are going to see a Vandal comes out from Pretz. Could be something. They want to play aggressive. The special delivery going to come out early as well. Maybe an aggressive defense coming in from Syracuse.
Pretz is the only one who full bought, but Jono with the ult gets 2. That's a good trade, but they get it right back. The Jayhawks even at 3-3. Back towards the other side, that Vandal is going to get picked up by the Orange instead of the Jayhawks. A huge value switcher. Owen gets 1 with Jono's Vandal. Owen gets 2. On the other end, that is beautiful for Jono. One more thing, one more shot, and they basically force Kansas on an econ round on the other side.
Yeah, great way for Syracuse to start here. 1 round deficit for them to bring this back as we approach 1 minute here. The defense in the favor of Syracuse, and you have a Sentinel, that Vice, that Initiator Sky, and that Controller on Brim. We're going to see the util go in, and this could be a quick pick for Syracuse.
They've sawn the Brimstone, and he goes down to Hayabusa. Right to match point we go. That is amazing value from the Orange. That's exactly what you want to do there. You have money now for this round. I believe Kansas still can full buy.
Yep.
I was wrong. But you kind of now approach it as you have to win this round unless you... It kind of feels like a must-win round.
Yeah.
A lot of these players, if they lose this round, they're not going to be able to full buy next time, and you're going to essentially force overtime for the Jayhawks. But down in Lawrenson, I'm sure they are collectively talking. They haven't called the timeout yet, which I think is a bit weird. Normally, with Valorant matches, I see about 40 different timeouts, and you love to see it because you want to talk things over. I mean, it's like basketball. You have 8 timeouts for a reason. You're going to use all of them at some point in the game.
You know?
But 12-10, they're not going to. That is a location reveal. Might as well go as aggressive as you can. Try and get some value. Jet knows they're there. Can't do anything there. Shots miss for Jono. Bullseye gets one on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, with that now, Kansas going to start to go forward here. Looks more aggressive on to that push here. And with that Teo ultimate, will start to be aggressive as well. The spike goes down, and this could be it for Kansas to start bringing it back.
You still have a pretty good, sizable advantage if you are Kansas, but still 4-on-5. Gotta, I guess, still be careful if you're Kansas. You can't get overzealous with these amount of people left. They find 1 in for the Orange, 2 agents suppressed on the other end. Here comes a long shot all the way from Utica. Pretz gets bullseye. Carveligi goes down, or rather gets Owen as Pretz gets Markaris. That's a Teja advantage. No ults available for either team. Or rather, Deadlock using that ult. I apologize, they just came back. As that is a great ult from Deadlock. She gets maximum value. And that is a beautiful, beautiful round from the Jayhawks. Distance until death. That's it.
Yep. And just like that now, with this, Kansas going to be approaching that 1 round to approach that overtime. Syracuse, no point in risking or no point in saving anything. If we go OT, you got your money back anyways. Full buy as much as you can. We are going to see a Guardian does come out because we can't fully buy that, as well as some util not being able to buy. You see that from the Teo right now. You're not going to see that silo come in, and that ability we've seen, especially from Kansas, has been so incredibly gruesome. With that missile into the net has been disgusting to see.
Even to their own team, as we get a Reyna ult immediately. You don't want to waste it here. We've still got 1 ult, the Teja ult, which is great for space. For the Orange, we'll see if they can use it. They really are going to have Teja play back in that A site. You saw it work here, and I'm going to assume the Jayhawks are going to play it. Yes, they will. Back to A. Reyna goes down. Jet goes down. Hayabusa gets 3. 1 more on the other side. Hayabusa gets 4. Steel Golden ult ready, as that is a beautiful, beautiful lineup. Oh my goodness, that has changed the game entirely. They could win it now from 5-on-5 to 5-on-1 in a matter of seconds. Still trying to go on that left side. They see him on that right side. Going towards it forward, Teo with the
ace.
Gonna wait for the teammate to get the ace. Get the stun, go down as Hayabusa. 5 for round 1, game 1. Set, match. That is the Orange on a good
nice
foot
start.
forward.
Great way to end it. You know, 2 aces so far we've seen. One from the Reina on the side of Kansas, and Hayabusa gonna finish that one off with an ace to secure map 1 victory. Now, for those of you curious, it is Valorant. It's a best of 3, so first to 2 will take the series here. And I mean, it got close, right? And it's definitely something you have to be aware of, right, Carson, is when we take a look at some of this, as we take a look at the stats here, I mean, Carson, talk to me.
You have a lot of varying performances from each team here. And there's players that contribute a lot more than I think the stats say. Stomp did a great job.
Absolutely.
Flash has got a lot of utility if they didn't end up with an assist. But Jono there and Owen and Hayabusa. Hayabusa coming in at the perfect time. That's a perfect time for an ace when all of it is on the line and you're going to go to an econ round if you lose. Yeah. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Basically stopping them from forcing overtime. And the Orange move on to game 2. Feeling hot off a fresh ace. I mean, that is a
that's a great way.
That's a morale crusher in Lawrenson.
Absolutely right. And I mean, with Syracuse, right, one of the big things that we talked about last semester was 1, their ability to trade, but 2, that sort of mental, right? I mean, this is going to be something that we're going to talk about, I'm sure, for the next week or 2 here, but with the new stage, but also just with sort of the PEC coming back in, you've got to be aware of that whole ordeal. And with this, right, it's a great way to start, but you can't get too ahead of yourself, right? I mean, Kansas, definitely not someone to just, you know, wipe off your shoulder there. I mean, started to come back, could have easily put Syracuse into overtime if it wasn't for that ace. They started off strong. They had some good util. You have to be careful and you have to respect the opponent, which we have been seeing from Syracuse, but also you have to be aware of some of their compositions. Like I said, that double duelist, what is that strength from their composition? And I think that's something that Syracuse wasn't fully prepared for as we saw that sort of 4 or 5 round win for Kansas.
Yeah, Hayabusa there, and you saw respecting the angles there. That's something the Jayhawks did not do because the Orange weren't hitting their shots for a period of time, and that's how it happens. If the other team's not hitting their shots, you're going to get way more aggressive, and as the Orange got back into it, Kansas didn't respect it, and that's what we saw there with Hayabusa. Real name is Wasif Khan, the student there. We go with usernames a lot of the time, but got to highlight the people, so maybe if you don't know who that is, and you're someone watching at home, and they're like, oh, that kid's in my, I don't know, Econ 104 class. So it's a cool momentum here that these are real players, and these are real students of the school who are doing an excellent job, giving so much time to this program. But yeah, you have to respect the other team. And
absolutely.
It's kind of a matter of, are you going to respect the other players? Are you going to play thinking I'm the best one on this team and I can hit all these shots? You can play either way, and sometimes it turns out good and sometimes it turns out bad. But the more Lawrenson kept, I guess, not respecting the rules, I guess, of engagement for the Orange, you saw the Orange were taking advantage of that, hitting the shots where they needed to, and just beautiful puzzle pieces were there for the Orange that towards the end, and they respected everything else that they needed to.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, you know, you mentioned it, you know, we always see like 40 timeouts per Valorant match. Only saw 2 this time, but timeouts are so crucial, right? I mean, it's the only time for a game like Valorant, right? For Overwatch, every map you get to talk. For every closed spawn door, you get to talk, right? For Valorant, you only ever get to talk during those timeouts. So it's something you have to be very, very cautious of as you go through that. So when you get these timeouts and the coaches, are able to talk and able to work through with the team sort of what that strategy is. Obviously, we saw it from Kansas, took full advantage of it, came out swinging. Syracuse as well came out swinging from that second timeout, able to really calculate what Kansas wanted to do there. So we see some of these players sort of stretching, getting themselves ready, you know, after playing 22 rounds, I believe, if my math is correct. Gotta, you know, take a reset there and going in, going to take some more fights.
I mean, bingo. I mean, what you're seeing a lot is smiles.
Yeah,
that's kind of where you're at, is when you take those timeouts, when you take a breather, especially when you give up 4 rounds in a row, it really sucks. Like, getting snowballed in Valorant is an excruciatingly painful experience from someone who has not played the game once and is actually an unironic iron player. So
oh, boy.
It's really hard to get beat in that game because you can't do what you want. You can't play the game how you want to, because at least in Call of Duty, you're at least using the gun you want to use. No, I mean, you saw the op come out one singular time on either team, and it was from the Orange, and it got no value. So it's a bit of a situation where how do you get the economy right? What do you play when you want to? And when you're losing, it sucks because you can't play the way you want to. It's a different game.
Yeah, and that comes into the next question, right? Is when you get to choose that next map. Obviously, they've done some of that already, but when you go into this next map here, one thing that I'm curious about is one, are we going to see more of that operator value? But two, what are these compositions that we're going to see, right? Kansas came out with that double duelist, Syracuse did not, right? They came out instead with that double initiator coming in with the Sky, which, like you said, found some good value, found some good flashes, but at the end of the day, right, it didn't help them as much on the attack as that double duelist did.
Yeah, and we'll have to take a little bit look at those comps and a little bit more at the map we're going to do in just a moment here, as we'll be right back after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back from our brief little break there as we head towards map 2. 1-0 win for Syracuse, 13-10 on map 1 on Bind. Really good start for the Orange. We saw a lot of smiles, a lot of happy faces walking around, chatting with the other members of their squad on stage here in the Gaming and Esports Center in Barnes. Shine. Shine, that's like the whole thing.
We're back. You know, it's okay. It's okay. Shine, Barnes. We sometimes mix them up. But Barnes is still active, though. Barnes?
I'm a freshman. That's my excuse. Don't forget it's semester 2. But amazing round 1 you saw from the Orange. A ace to end it.
Absolutely.
For just, I guess that was the right way to do it. I mean, maximum motivation going in round 2 against a team who is looking for their first win. So I'm not going to count out the Jayhawks. At this point, you want it more than anything. Yep. And you see these guys are locked in right now, just staring right at the monitor, getting ready for this other section here. They have a lot of planning to do because the Jayhawks, I think, are going to maybe entirely change up what they did. It did not work for the last time because they had a good first map on Bind in week 7 of last semester, and then it went disastrously wrong. They let the Orange win 2 straight, so we'll hope that doesn't happen to us on the other end. But really interesting to see kind of just how much the map is going to change things, and I'm very excited to see what map it is. Unfortunately, there's no more Icebox, which is my personal favorite map, so that might be really, really not to cast, not to play. Gosh, not to play. Just to cast because it's really not a great map.
Well, that's kind of counterproductive. But
well, I mean, it makes for generally fun
What's your opinion
things.
on Lotus? Well, we got Lotus here, Carson. Going to be the map of choice here. No Tejo going to be locked in, it looks like, from Syracuse here. Going to rock that double controller, something we've seen staple in this community. That Omen and that Viper. Still running with that Vice and that Raze and that Sky. I'm going to be honest here, Carson. We talked a little bit during this break here. My opinion on this Vice, you've got to be careful with them, right? Because with how Vice works, the way to find the maximum value with this character, you have to be incredibly good, right? And we've seen Hayabusa do some fantastic things on this character, but when you think about Sentinels, right? When you think about their util and what is Sentinel supposed to do, right? When you have Deadlock out, right? Same deal, right? Both of these Sentinels being solo Sentinels, it's a little difficult to run them, right? But what we've seen so far from Hayabusa on this Vice has been pretty good, right? But the question does come down to say, you know, when you compare it to maybe some of the other Sentinels in the game, how are you going to match that, right? How are you going to match the possibilities we did see, right? The Deadlock and the Tejo for the side of Kansas, that is incredibly powerful, and the Vice can't contest that, right? Even when you have a Vice and a Tejo together, that just doesn't match the Deadlock Tejo duo, right? So it's very, very difficult to see what you can actually do. But now we see this Vice alone as a Sentinel, no Tejo to work with that Deadlock on the other side.
And the thing is about Lotus is, if you look at the top left of your screen right now, you're going to know a very different thing. You're going to see the letter C, and if you're a CSGO player, that's really scary. That's really scary. The fact I don't like Lotus is because there's 3 objectives. Elephant in the room, whatever.
Right?
But
yeah, no, I get it.
you don't really have any sort of advantage ever unless you guess right. And this map is 100%, or rather, more like 75% of the time about the retake and not dying when you are defending a site. And it's really going to come down to this. The Jayhawks, I like to be on defense first here. It is way easier to be on defense first as Bullseye with an early pick on Pretz. Going down the right side, they get Reyna on that left side. Now they look towards that left side now. Cardell Engine. That is Cardell Engine. Just got it. Just got it. One map in. Don't worry about it. Angel gets Jono on the other end. We see advantage for the Jayhawks. But trades are coming out for the Orange. They're doing a good job pushing into the C site. And what you notice here is there was only 2 defenders there. So now the Orange are just going to walk on site, and you're going to see a lot of this. It's very hard to contest. Very, very hard to contest. But you'll notice that it's a very open space. Macros gets caught. Macros catches Owen. Stomp gets Bullseye. And Macros, it's one more. Stomp. It's up to 1-on-1. And Macros gets a 3K for the Jayhawks 1-0. Good economy boost for them.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I want to mention here, right, with some of these differences in compositions, this double controller is what is very, very powerful with this composition. However, right, we see from Kansas still only rocking that one controller, and for those of you who play a lot of Valorant, you recognize this double duelist as that APAC composition. In professional play, we see a lot of double duelists. It is one of the most common things that we see from the APAC region, and it's because it can be very powerful, right? If you're an aggressive team and you can capitalize off of that aggression, then this double duelist does work against the other team, right? And Kansas is still working to capitalize off of that double duelist. We saw it a little bit in Bind. Now to see it here on Lotus, it's going to be a lot more close quarters battles, and to see some of these duelists able to take that is going to be crucial for them to find their way back in this series.
Yeah, and it's the aggression that the Jayhawks are going to live and die by. We see it not so much for the Orange. They're going to go a bit of a more conservative route, which I think it depends on how you want to play this. You can play this setup aggressively, but they're definitely going for a more defensive outlook here. This Jayhawk team is very offensive, and it's kind of a weird thing because now you're playing with a team that's really good, that was going to go really good on defense playing offense, a team that's going to go really good on defense playing on offense. I just said the same thing, guys. Good thing on offense, playing on defense. So it's a bit of a situation. You're going to play more conservative. You're the Orange here, but I think we're going to see a lot of looks, a lot of aggressive looks, a lot of conservative looks. And that's going to be one of them. You are going to try and go to a small space, and Angel, make sure that doesn't happen. 3K for them, one more. And the Orange go down like dominoes.
Yeah, I mean, this is where this comp is going to thrive, right, with this aggression. When you are on Syracuse's side, right, with this double controller, the good thing that you do have is you have the ability to sort of I don't want to say overexpend, but you have the ability to be a little bit more lenient on your controller, right? You can have a little bit more util usage because of those smokes from Omen as well as from that Viper, right? On the side of Kansas, you don't get that opportunity, so their attacking side will be interesting when that comes around, but they have such a strong ability, right? You know that if these smokes are going to be used from the side of Kansas, they're totally comfortable enough to do that, so they're using these smokes just when they want to use it, just the way they want to use them, and they're throwing their duelists in to start taking fights, and it worked perfectly for him. 2 up right now.
Yeah, and you saw the lack of util there, forcing the Orange to go aggressive. They don't want that. They want to be able to control the map, and you're going to see this right here. Smokes immediately coming out from Omen. They're going to try and control C. I think C is going to be a main site that the Orange want to push. They have so much space there, but Carnival Engine takes advantage of it. Jono and Owen go down. It's a 3-5 advantage, odd man rush for the Jayhawks as they push forward. Just kind of stuck now in that C-way hallway as there's a shot goes down as a ult comes out. One more stop. Goes down. Hayabusa is able to get one before War completes the 3K.
Yeah, I mean, there's a way to use your raise, right, as an initiator. You know, jump them in, get some good intel, and, you know, sacrifice them for the cause of a round win. And, I mean, you see that went great for him. Now for the side of Kansas, I mean, so well played, right? That's 3 rounds for them. That was the even round in econ for both teams, and now Syracuse going to be on a low, thrifty buy once more. I mean, Kansas, they're playing this comp well. They know what they're doing, but if you're Syracuse here, you need to start reading these smokes, right? You need to start respecting that they are going to get aggressive when they want to, right? Play the way that you want to play. Use your util when you need to. Take advantage of this double controller. Force out their Omen, right? Force out their util so that you can take full advantage. But to do that, you need to respect, you need to back.
Yeah, and look, the Jayhawks are neutralizing that, essentially.
Yeah.
They are playing so aggressive that the Orange are now out of util. They're playing a thrifty round on round 4. You're watching the Orange kind of have nothing, just nothing to their name at this point. You've got no money. You've got just kind of have to push by yourself. As Pretz gets 1, it's a good thing. But you see there, the Vandal too much for Pretz on the revolver. Carnival Engine gets 2 towards that A site, and the flash comes out, flashes their own teammate. That's a bit of missed timing. Pushing there, they all have revolvers. You just see it's hard, but 3K for Owen as they get a collateral. That is huge value, and now you have a 2-on-1 advantage on just luck alone. But hey, some luck. I mean, I will definitely take it as now the Orange are armed and dangerous.
Yeah, great way to go in here for Syracuse, right? Now they also have that controller in their favor, right? One of the good things with that double controller, one can die, you still have the good ability to go in and take control of space as you so need. So, as this goes forward though, Deadlock is spotted, will be taken down, and Syracuse will take that victory there. So, very, very good job for them. And with that, Syracuse looking to come back in, that econ back in their favor. But now we're also going to see the ultimates start to come into play, right? Round 3, round 4, when you start to see these ultimates start to come online, round 4s, 5, and 6, where they start to being used here. So now with this, Omen and Sky going to have theirs, as well as Omen and Reyna. So instead of having that initiator, going to rock down on that Reyna ultimate, which we've seen before, especially for Kansas, is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, you've got a 2v2 scenario now in terms of ults, and Reyna going to pop it immediately on the side of the Jayhawks. This is extreme aggressive from those in Lawrenson. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do, because if Reyna can get the amount of kills here and they can get this round, this is a must-win round for the Syracuse. They're also going to fall into another econ snowball. See if they can get a pick here, a very big spread push, as they're just kind of waiting for Kansas to play that aggressive side. They know that Reyna's ulting. She's going to be antsy to use it, but if she's smart, she'll waste the time and know that she has it for the rest of the round, essentially.
Yeah, and with that, now we are going to see smoke start to come in for Syracuse. They've been making some good progress here, sort of forcing out the util from the side of Kansas instead of getting too aggressive. And Odin going to shoot through the door and find 2, though. Kansas going to look for some good value. We are going to see the Tejo util start to come out as well. Try to force Syracuse, split them up, which it does do. The 3-on-5 here. The Reyna ultimate still active. 2 more for Kansas. 43 seconds. Syracuse trying to find their way in, but with this, I mean, there's only so much you can do. This Vice, not a very aggressive Sentinel. I mean, if you're Syracuse here, you need to hope for an early pick. Try to take care of that Reyna because you know she's out there lurking.
Yeah, the Odin is a baller move, to say the least. It costs a lot of money to start off, but it makes every wall in the game the least safe place to be. And you can see that there for a moment. You saw 2 orange players cowering as Odin shots rang out all around them, hoping that they just didn't get the last one. But they've got 12 seconds in this round and need to find some value quick. Pretz gets a bullseye. 1 more, 8 seconds. Plant has to come down now. Markaris gets 1 in the form of Hayabusa. It's a 2-on-3. Oh no, 3-on-1. Or rather, 2-on-1 turns into 2-on-none. Carnival Engine, you've got an Odin and a Op immediately. This is some high value play, and I think we're going to see an orange timeout here. Yes. That's going to make sense down to 4-1. This is a...
Yeah, I mean...
You took 1 foot forward with the right, and now you're back to starting. Neutral feet.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, one thing that I was mentioning when we were sort of taking a break there, Carson, was, 1, you got to keep yourself locked in. You got to keep your head on a swivel, though, because Kansas... They like to play something that's not too typical, right? A lot of these teams, you're going to see opt-in for this double controller. You're going to see opt-in for sort of that Tejo with a deadlock or with a Vice or with some sort of Sentinel, right? But the biggest thing is you're not seeing very many teams run this double duelist. It is such a punishing composition, and we've seen that, right? I mean, the good thing with it is if you're good, you just can run down your opponent whenever you want to, right? I mean, just completely no fear. But when it comes down to when you're not running that, or when you are running that double duelist, the downside, right? When you're on that double duelist, it can be difficult sometimes, because if you aren't able to really capitalize on that aggression, it becomes pure chaos at some points in the game, because you can't find the value. You can't go in because you're not confident enough. You have to be aggressive.
Yeah, and that Tejo from the side of Kansas is really working out.
Yeah.
You have so much aggression and you're taking less space, but the Tejo is good enough where they're managing space all the way across the map. This is a really, really good value. They're getting so much value out of it. And I think the Jayhawks right now, they have the better team comp just in terms of how they're playing and how they're being, I guess, able to play. But the Orange have a massive way here. They've got a pretty open B side if they can find it. But Carnival Engine with the op gets Pretz. Jono gets 1 more. Takes down the op. It's a trade though. War gets stopped. Owen gets bullseye towards that B site. They head back now. There's 2 retreating towards Spawn. And Ray's going to go just on their own adventure here as they try and defend C to bring over the team. On the other end, Omen gets a smoke, loses the peak though is Jono. War is there. They're going to back up once again, and we're going to see with Spike, Omen's just going to go somewhere else. This is his ult. He can literally teleport.
Yeah, I mean, they went in there and they found a nice spike plant, going to put some pressure here on to Kansas, and they now have to engage. But, I mean, Carson, I was telling you, this team up right here, the Tejo and the Deadlock, is so scary. With that net and with that guided salvo, there's so much you can do to just put pressure in, but a good pick will come out early. This could be it for Syracuse to bring themselves back.
Loses the high ground there to try and not lose another. Tejo some spots down, and the guided salvos coming out. You saw a little bit earlier. Smoke going to come out. Spike dwindling down, so we'll have to see how much time Teo's going to try and leave themselves with. Pushing very aggressively into that B site. Gets Owen in that other section there. That's the fall star. One more remaining for the orange side. They have the advantage here. Has to force Teo to get it, and Hayabusa has come in clutch. A lot of moments for the orange here, and one more. They lose their life to the Spike, but Hayabusa, another clutch moment for the orange.
I mean, you know, there you go, Syracuse, right? You know, they want to keep us on our toes here. They are ready to put on a show, and that they have done, right, with this. And now going forward here, we're going to see Syracuse start to come back in this matchup here. And I was wondering if we were ever going to see this, a new little thing that Valorant has added for anyone who is curious. It's kind of like an inspect, in a sense. An inspect to, well, a random thing. It's something new for Valorant. Only shows up on your screen though, so it's not too crazy. A little cell phone call and ring ring. A player goes down for Syracuse.
And they got TikTok on the phone, unfortunately, and just got peeked the wrong way. That is, I guess, a swipe left for the orange there. Moving towards that other side, the Vandal. Side for the orange. They've been very Vandal heavy here, and Pretz shows why. Owen goes down to Markarus on the other end. The trade, though, orange have the man advantage, and that is a wrong place, wrong time, beamed up, like Star Trek, if you will. On the other end, have to get Deadlock. They're trying to get their teammate left alive, and they do. They manage to escape it. Deadlock on that left side there. Spike is around for the orange. They know where Deadlock is. She's towards this B site. Wolf comes in. Nope, she's not there, actually. Just rotated on the other side. Orange have space, have sight. They're going to try and set up here, similar to the situation with Teo 2 rounds ago.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I like what I'm seeing from Syracuse, right? Instead of maybe like baiting out some of this util, they're getting more aggressive, right? They're making it difficult. Like you were saying, 3 sites, hard to set up. You kind of just got to guess which site you're on. If you guess correctly, this double duelist composition for Kansas struggles to re-engage onto that, right? Because they're not already there. Syracuse is already there. They're going aggressive. They're kind of just taking a gamble. They know the double duelist comp isn't there. They're able to get on site. They're able to really surpass the Kansas's aggression, and because of that, they've been able to plant Spike twice in a row now. They're getting on point, and now Syracuse just sort of waiting for the Spike to go off.
And not seeing too much aggression from the side of the Jayhawks as the ball goes down, as the war goes down. Deadlock goes down, and that is another round. Hum diddly dee, that is the orange are rolling. If you want to say an orange down a hill, I guess you can't really drive. Can Otto drive?
I'm sure Otto would drive if Otto wanted to. I'm sure Otto could drive.
Yeah, I don't know why I just brought that question up immediately, but the orange are rolling down right here now. They needed that after the timeout. They need the momentum in the right way, and that is going forward in a massive way. 2 rounds in a row for the orange, trying to make it 3, put the Jayhawks on their heels. As Lawrenson getting a little bit tense now, maybe DEFCON 2, DEFCON 3 over there.
Yeah, I will say this, though, right? The thing with these small sites, this A, B, and C, 1, 2, 3, is you have the Tejo who can lock down any site with that Armageddon incredibly easily from basically the other side of the map, right? So very, very crucial to be aware of that. The Showstopper, a great engage tool, right? I believe we see someone from Syracuse already fell. I missed that. And now with this, Syracuse has to look to re-engage here, and they're down that. That's unfortunate.
And this is why this map bothers me. Now that there's someone dead on the other side, you have to almost always split push to keep your back line safe. And the Orange don't have a back line anymore. Now you're basically forced to go to B so you can properly go the right way. It's a really interesting map design. It's really cool. And I guess I love this map design in a way, but I also hate it. Angel gets 2 on the other side. Owen gets Angel. Bullseye gets 1 more, and the Orange can't do it. That is a tough push there. Just converged at the right time. The Jayhawks seemingly knew what was going to happen. They saw them go A, knew they saw them C, probably saw that door and, heard that massive garage door moving around, turning. An interesting push from the Orange. They can't connect the shots as they kind of get sandwiched in the middle, turned into a panini there.
Yeah, now with this, once again, Syracuse looking to maybe force a couple guns, it looks like, but for the most part, yep, gonna look to force as much as they can here. A couple Vandals, Guardian, but more of a half buy here from Syracuse. Maybe looking to get on site fast, maybe to look to engage with that Vice ultimate, and then solidify that point with the Viper, right? Stay strong onto that point, but already 1 gun again for Syracuse will be the raise, and now we're gonna see 2 members fall. The Teo ultimate's gonna put some pressure in, and Syracuse falling like dominoes.
Bit of a wash, trying to get some picks here. Hayabusa gets Bullseye. on that other end. Really interesting skin there. One more. Oh, Makarus gets stomped, and Angel gets Hayabusa. They had the time, couldn't hit the shots. You're going for the headshot there with so many peeking you at the same time. Not too much value for the Orange. Seems like the Jayhawks, the Orange got within one. They just hopped in the car and drove away, unfortunately. And those in Lawrence, just went from DEFCON 3, maybe 5 again. 5 is the low one, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
I don't work in a facility that would use DEFCON.
Well, that would be a little disturbing, Carson. I'd be a little scared.
I mean, do we use DEFCON here? I feel like, do we need to? Do we think we need to?
I hope we never have to get to that point. But, you know, with this, right, Syracuse, 4 ultimates in their favor, but they cannot afford to lose someone early. That has happened for 2 or 3 rounds in a row here, Carson, and it has been crucial to Kansas's victory. And
it's going well, though. Owen gets 2. They lose 1, but they're able to get 2 more. That's the main push with Spike on the other side. But we're seeing 2 go separate again, and that's that split push. It's really been biting the Orange, and you see there why, but War goes down. That's the right picks you need. If you're going to do that, you have to hit your shots, but this is what the problem it creates. Owen gets Carnival Engine in the back end, and that is exactly how it's supposed to have been going the past 2 rounds, but they haven't been able to make it connect. The Orange moving now towards C-Site. Just huge that you hit your shots in those situations. The Orange were efficient there, and you basically take away the aggression from Kansas if you are forcing them to respect your peaks. If they aren't respecting you, they're going to play aggressive, they're going to screw you up, and they're going to run into your backline and destroy you. Saw Carnival Engine all the way from Utica or Albany shooting at that Orange team. Just no respect for the Orange there. 3 people, and they were going after it. That's way too aggressive for Kansas, and that's why they lost that push there on that other end. But Orange have full control of C. Omen alone with that teleport. I don't think they'll use it, but at this point, C-Site pretty much locked down by the Orange.
Yeah, with this now, if you're Kansas, you know, yeah, looking for the best that they can, but Syracuse able to find that. I will say I was a little worried at first here, Carson, and let me explain why, right? When you lose that member early on, it can be very critical to your push going forward, but what I will say is this, right? With this, Syracuse kind of looked to bait, right? I don't know if I entirely agree with it, right? I mean, you want to force out this util, but instead we're going in fast, right? We're trying to take these duels pretty fast, try to see who is on point, and we look for some of these angles, and it's done some good, right? We just saw them win around with it, right? But it's also caused them a little bit of issues as well, right? So you have to be a little careful going into some of these fights, looking for these angles when you get aggressive, right? Oh, that's a great way to start.
Yeah, hum-diddly-dee, Owen right there. Perfect start there for the Orange, and you have to get those shots. But as you mentioned, it's been a rough time, but this is what I'm hoping to have seen more. A full push to the right side, massive aggression on A. You're playing Kansas at a game that maybe you shouldn't be playing, but if you're beating them, you're beating them. The Reyna ult comes out, Stomp and Jono get 2 more. It's a 5-on-1 versus ulting Reyna, who is able to pick off Owen, and looking for the ace here is Carnival Engine, trying to maybe tune up here, put that in gear on the other end. They have op, they can basically play wherever they want to, but it's a bit of a tough site to play off on, and Jono proves why. Up top, Jono puts down Carnival Engine. Orange within 1 once again.
Yeah, now they're going to look to even up this series here going into the half, and it's a full buy coming out from Syracuse. From the side of Kansas, though, it may be a little bit more of a half buy as you see some of their economies a little bit in the 24 through 2,800 range. Could be a little bit scarier, right? So you have to be careful, but that op could come out as well as we see it again, so being careful of that going into this next round. But 3 ultimates, right? We haven't seen that Vice ultimate used yet. I really want to see it here. You can't keep it to the next half anyways, so you might as well, right, look to be aggressive with it, look to force out your opponent, force out Kansas, and look to engage early on to that point.
Maybe I missed it. I'm not sure why Reyna ulted that early, so it's a bit of an interesting perspective there, because now you're without that Reyna ult and only have Omen, while Syracuse has the ult advantage, trying to even it up here. Slow push to the right side. Syracuse is unified. This is what we've been hoping to see a little bit more, because you're basically not letting Kansas play their game. Kansas is looking to pick off members in the backline. They're looking to take advantage of those who are not collected with the team. But here we see the ult. Massive rocket launcher on the other end, has to shoot it so they can get some value and protect themselves on the right side. Pushing forward. Pretz gets 1. Bullseye. Jono gets 1. Markaris, and they move towards that top end, and Syracuse has A once again looking great, but War takes Hayabusa down. That's going to be the loss of the ult, unfortunately, for the Orange, as Vice goes down 1 more in the end, all the way from Utica. Stomp gets War. Stomp gets 1 more. Reyna, the only one left for the other side.
Yeah, with this now, Reina, the only one left, as you just mentioned here, Carson. Syracuse wants to even this series up, going back into the half, which is the best thing that you can do. They peek the corner. The shots are fired, but Syracuse can't quite find him. The trade isn't there yet either, but the spike is down. It's only got about 15 seconds left.
15 seconds, but Carnival Engines coming back, but bang! Stomp! Stomps out the life there. There's even finally down 4. The Orange rally back 6-6, and we're switching sides.
Switching sides, and that is, you know, not the best case scenario for Syracuse. Obviously, best case scenario would be 12-0 and a half, but you know that would be crazy. Obviously, we would have been out here in probably an hour ago if that was the case. But when it comes down to this is not the worst case, right? When you're in this, you're back at an even scale. Like I was mentioning earlier, though, right? Kansas with this double duelist composition, they are going to thrive on the attacking side. We saw that on Bind. Now we're probably going to see it here on Lotus, right? That double duelist, they have the ability to go very fast, get aggressive, go in and plant that spike, potentially finding some good value while they are at it, finding a good pick early on. But with Syracuse, right, this double controller, they can own a lot of space really, really fast, right? The Vice going to be able to find a little bit more value as well, but already the aggression is starting. Syracuse will start off strong, but already 2 fall.
That's a right click for more that goes real good. A headshot and a wall bang for that other side. That is just perfect value, and honestly, sometimes it comes down to luck in Valorant, and that was one of those moments. Random shots on the other end. War gets their 3rd. Bullseye gets 1 more in the form of Hayabusa. As Pretz left alone now to just kind of walk in towards B, and fortunately now they know they're there. So I'm going to use some util, try and get out of it, but this is a scary situation to be in if you are an Orange.
Yeah, Syracuse now needs to look for something. Will be in the smoke. The second they peek will be taken down, and that's a 3-piece coming out for Kansas as they take round number 1 on this attacking side. And Carson, I was mentioning this to you, right, and I've said it a few times now. I know I sound like a broken record, but this is where Kansas will thrive, and Syracuse needs to respect that. They need to respect the strength that Kansas is going to have on this attacking side. They need to respect the double duelist. They need to respect the aggression. If they don't, this is going to happen for the next 6 rounds, and Kansas will take game 2.
And this is where we see the improvement of the Orange team.
Yep.
We saw the Orange lose 0-2 to Nebraska early in the season. The Jayhawks played better against Nebraska than we did, and it's interesting. We played a tough time against the Jayhawks as well. This is where this team shines. This is where they have to prove themselves, that they've gotten better over this offseason. Jono gets Bullseye, but Bullseye and 1 more as Carnival Engine gets Jono in the other end. 6-7 odd man advantage for the Jayhawks.
Syracuse now, right, 4 members, like you mentioned here, now 3 on 4, and Kansas will have that Deadlock ultimate on lock. A good pick comes out, though, early on from Pretz on this Viper character. We've seen Pretz on multiple times last semester. Syracuse going to a very strong spot here, 3-on-2. The spike is down. They need to be careful. Bullets are flying in. The trade isn't there, though.
We're back to 2-2. Shot can't go down. Angel gets their 2nd in the form of Pretz, and they get their 3rd instantaneously. Down goes Owen. 6-8 Jayhawks. And what seemed like a very high note after 3 rounds in a row is going right back down. That is not great for the Orange.
Yeah, I mean, if you are Syracuse here, right, you got to take a step back and think, right? A big thing to keep in mind as well is when it comes down to this composition, you also have to look for your trades, right? We mentioned it last semester a lot. Syracuse struggled with trades and struggled with that change of tempo in their play style. We're starting to see this trade issue starting to seep through the cracks a little bit more. They've got to lock it back in. They've got to find these trades. They cannot allow players like Angel to kill 3 with no punishment.
And they'll try and go Punisher here. That's a really aggressive look immediately from the Orange on the A site, but it basically eliminates them from saying, hey, they're going aggressive on the A site. So at least that option is no longer there, but you see now, very C-heavy on that utility there on the wall, seeing the bouncing Betty type thing there. Bullseye gets Pretz in the other end. This is some bad, bad news for the Orange. They rotate more to that other side. Trying to find higher seating in Sin City, and it's been tough, especially on a map like this where you have to rotate your entire defense, and it takes so long. And you're watching the Orange now, left, top, left, mini-map. Look at that push setup. They're waiting. They're really trying to just wait, but you lose time. And you lose a lot of time with the spike, and it doesn't get any extra time, even with 3 objectives.
Yeah, 45 seconds for that spike to go down. A beautiful pick will come out early, though, but now 1 member will be exposed, 4-on-4. Now we are going to see Kansas does use that Deadlock ultimate. No one was connected. The smokes are going to come out. That's That's the great thing of having that double controller. 2 fall down there as it will go down. Omen finding 2, Omen finding 3 there. Legendary, 1 more falls, and Syracuse isn't out yet. They're going to bring themselves back into this tournament.
What a round from Owen. Knife fight in a phone booth, and Owen comes out on top. A beautiful, beautiful job from the Fall Star. Hoping to be a Spring Star, and with plays like that, that is beautiful. It's exactly what the Orange need at this point, and you can't ask for anything more from a guy like that. Stomps out the final player, but 7-8 is a good place to be right now after losing 2 in a row. Econ, a little bit more in your direction. I wouldn't know I dropped that class.
But, you know, like you were saying, right, very good direction for Syracuse, and they were able to take a little bit more of that advantage. One of the weaker sides of this double duelist composition is it thrives on that util, it thrives on that aggression use of the util, right? So you have to kind of full commit, and if you don't, then you likely lose that fight, right? That's sort of that thing with that double duelist composition. So it's a lot of util out, but if you can bait that, if you're Syracuse, you're able to bait out that util fast, you're going to be in a good spot for a recontest. We saw that, a nice 3-piece angle going in back on that return, and they were able to take advantage, and then Molly's going to find one.
Yeah, Brett's getting Carnival Engine. I think they were also shooting at them, so backed into it while they were already at low health. Bit unfortunate, but Ray's generally unaware of the situation around them. Bullseye goes down. War gets Hayabusa. Pretz gets a third. Looking for the ace now as they see 2 more on that right side. Gets Omen. Right, no, Nerdy gets Marcus. Omen's still alive on that right side. Here they come, but it's going to be game, set, match. Owen gets that final kill. No ace for the Orange there.
You got your 1, you don't get another one. That's how it goes in Valorant. 1 ace per player per game, all right? 1 ace per player.
That was Pretz's ace. That could have been his ace. Come on.
Yeah, it could have been, but was stolen. The victory was stolen.
Victory was stolen.
But,
well, I mean, you won the round, so
yeah,
I'd go.
The individual victory wasn't, but this is a team game, and Valorant is that game, obviously. So now we're here, 8-8. Scores back even once more. Syracuse finding some good value. I do like this aggressive play on A site, right? We're seeing that pretty frequently coming out from Syracuse. They're going fast. They're putting a lot of util. They're going in for that ult orb, try to build their ults up, which we do see our 3 are on lock at the moment. And because of that, they're able to, they're able to see if there's an A push, they're able to contest an A push, or they're able to be like, all right, cool, no A push, let's move.
Yeah, and the Orange, you see them tied. This is where it goes wrong initially. They have to keep the foot to the floor.
Yeah.
You can't let the Jayhawks get any momentum back here. You just won 2 in a row. Now is the time. You have to go for the kill shot here. You really have to start snowballing if you want to win this game. Giving the Jayhawks a point back is just going to be back and forth, and you don't want to be playing tennis. You want to be winning the game.
Yep, foot on the floor, shoes on the feet, and Syracuse staying locked in here. 3 ultimates to their favor. We are going to see Tejo Util start to come back in. Won't be able to find anyone with damage, but will force out Owen here on this Omen. Just under a minute here. We're going to see a little bit less aggression coming in from Kansas, but we're going to see a lot more of a split push, right? Some on B, some on A. A nice pick goes in, though, and just like that, Syracuse going to try to find their way to put themselves back up in this series.
Pretz, swing of a lifetime. That's a home run. Jono gets 1 more, and Marcoris. Now here comes the ult from Rays. Bang! That's 2! Angel and Bullseye go down for the other end, and Jono gets the last one. 9-8. Orange have their first lead.
Coming back up here, 9-8. Only 1 ultimate used as well in that fight as a total. Now with this, we're going to see Syracuse start to come back up here, and with this, just like that, Syracuse finding their way back in, just as I was saying here. 2 ultimates, only 1 used the side of Syracuse. Going back into the 2 against the side of Kansas. Syracuse finding their momentum, finding their way back into this.
Jono with a beautiful play there. Have to love it. Pushing the red button there, if you will, and just nuclear explosion on the other end for that ult. That was a wrong place, wrong time, I think, for that just to happen on the Rays, rather. And now you're going to see the aggression come out from Kansas. You just lost 3 in a row. Now you have to win. Reyna has the ult here. Going to see if she can get any aggressive out of it. You're seeing a massive swing towards the A side. The Orange should move towards the A side, but Hayabusa gets Bullseye, doing the same thing that Kansas did to them while they were on the offense. Here comes Toxin now, though. Here the Viper ult from the Orange coming out now. War gets Hayabusa on the other end. Slow rotate from our side as Marcus gets stomped and War gets pressed with the ult. Not looking good for the Orange. It's 2-4. Wrong site here. We're going to see a swing out, maybe. No one up there.
The Viper's Pit, the side of Syracuse, not able to find the value needed. The spike planted and the kill found for Kansas. And in the back, we will see one coming out for Syracuse. 2 on 3. The spike still down about 30 seconds before it goes off. 7 seconds needed to de-plant the spike here, and trades on either side. It's a 1 on 2 here, Carson.
It's on the shoulders of Jono here. Doesn't have the advantage in terms of time or really anything here. Hits himself with a grenade.
Oh.
Here comes Reyna. They see the ult. Being out there as they get 2 locked in the wrong spot, and Carnival Engine puts Jono away. 9-9 back to tie.
Yep, there you go. Just like that. A timeout going to be called here. And just like that, now we're going to see sort of from this perspective, right? Syracuse looking to call that timeout again. And, you know, if you're Syracuse, very good idea, right? Take that reset. You know, you made some adaptations. You found some value. But now you're sort of losing that value again. Need to bring that one back, right? It's a big tug-of-war competition right now between these two teams. You know, who can find the value back and forth, right? And now Syracuse needs to readjust, right? Needs to make some changes to what they want to play. If I'm Syracuse's coach here and I'm making the decision, what I'm telling them to do right now is, right, you've been doing a good job when you're pushing on that A, you're securing that A. Continue to do that, right? Don't lock down that site, because we saw what just happened when they locked down that A site. I mean, especially with that Tejo, with that drone, it's so easy to get spotted.
Yeah, and that Tejo has been a big game changer in the rounds that the Jayhawks have won. They needed that. They didn't get that round there. That was probably going to just end up being the end for the Jayhawks. But now they're back to tied. They have this game in the right direction now. They have the advantage. But the Orange have to go in there. I'm going a little bit different than your approach. I'm telling them, you just played your game. You just annihilated them. Keep that in mind. Play the game you were playing as you were doing. You're going to lose rounds. That's how Valorant works. You're not going to win all the rounds, especially with the talent we have on this level, even in the lower end of the table. You have to always play your game, and the Orange were doing that. And you can't tell them to do something different because you lose one round. You went 4-2 while you were playing as aggressive as you were, and it shuts down Kansas. Their entire setup right now is aggression, and if you stop them from being that, hit your shots, you can do it here. It's basically egoist. It's bit of an interesting situation. Net up top, I would say definitely stuck is now. They somehow get out of that. Omen lives through that experience, which not really sure how.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I mean, all you see on the screen was white and green, so a little difficult to see there, but trades on either side. However, right, both Omens have that TP unlocked. The Showstopper as well. The drone, I don't believe, was able to spot Owen there, so very good looks coming out for Syracuse. Still able to play this stealthier gameplay coming out from the Omen. A lot of util still unlocked as well. That Paranoia could be the game changer for the next person from Kansas if they choose to walk through this A site.
It really depends with your Omen what you want to play it here, and I don't think either of them are going to use it this round unless it comes down to a situation where you can swap and just take a point. Orange have 4. You're going to wait till you have less on the other team than yours typically to use that Omen ult unless it's a desperation time move. Pretz gets War. There goes Deadlock. Only ults remaining. And 1 goes down. Here comes the Omen ult. Going to randomly appear now somewhere on the map. They've teleported. Raze has it. Tejo ult coming, and it's going to be B site that it's get used on. As Reyna comes down, or Raze rather comes down as well, that's a rocket launcher. Bullseye goes down. No rockets fired. Markarus gets Pretz with the ult. Angel gets 1 more, but the spike diffused, and Hayabusa gets their 3rd as we speak.
Yeah, with that, right, Syracuse able to find it, and they played aggressive on that A site, right? That's what I wanted to see them do. They were able to go in. They were able to force out a lot of util, and it scared Kansas off, right? When they go fast onto that A push, it scares Kansas, right? They don't want to overcommit all their util so early onto a contest before they're even on that site. And so we see, right, there were trades, but they backed up, right? They were immediately said, nope, we don't want to fight this. We know you have more util than us. We're not going to lose all of our util yet, right? And just like that, we see some great plays coming out from Syracuse, able to bait it out, able to be patient after seeing some util usage, and now going to be up in the series again, only 3 away from taking this series.
You know, maybe they don't keep up enough with Valorant as we see some contest on A, but I don't know when they added a phone to this game. It really is confusing. On the other end there, maybe a bit distracted. Carnival Angel doesn't see the one on the right. Pretz and Stomp get 1 apiece, and it's, I guess, all orange here, but Markarus decides maybe otherwise. Rock Chalk Jayhawk gets 1. Pretz on the other end. Looking for 1 more pick as Owen and Stomp get 1 each. Spike goes down, and you're a bit locked in a corner there if you're that last remaining Jayhawk. Here comes Hayabusa.
If it's not broke, don't fix it, Carson. Keep it playing the way that you want to play it, and if Kansas wants to play into your hands, just let them, right? Keep letting them play directly into your hands. Keep taking advantage of that play, and as that continues to happen. Syracuse right now 2 rounds away here, 11-9. But I do want to make this clear. We saw this stat line in on to bind. Kansas started to bring themselves back. They made it into that 10 round there, and things can get dangerous for Syracuse if they aren't careful. They have to keep their head on a swivel. They have to pay attention here, Carson.
You're playing real aggressive. You're going in all in every time, and Kansas has to stop folding.
Yep.
This is not a winning recipe to get down to Vegas, as the Jayhawks are playing the wrong game. They're supposed to be the ones on aggression, but the Orange have taken that and ripped it away from them. This is amazing play from a team that I don't think we would have seen it in Week 7 last year. Yeah, it actually is last semester. But the Orange have done a really, really good job and have clearly improved since there. Hayabusa gets one more. We've seen him come big in clutch moments earlier as Carnival Engine. Same thing for that other side. Gets Pretz. It's even now. Spike looks like it's going towards B potentially as Raze gets Hayabusa in that low corner. And we see an op coming on the flank side. Bit of an interesting thing is 2 alts come out here from the Orange. Sky and Omen. Teleportation. Going to see what they can do as we head towards C site. And going to be really interesting. It's wrong timing. Carnival Engine gets Jono while they're looking the wrong way. And Stomp gets 1 before they get stomped out.
Timing, one of the biggest things in Valorant, just like the precise gunplay. You have to be careful. You have to be prepared at every given moment. But sometimes those moments just hit you when you're not ready for them. And just like this now, it is just 1 member left for the side of Syracuse against the 3. The spike is down. Angles are being checked.
Not sure where anyone really is. Omen's going to take an aggressive push here, and it's behind as they look left. Wrong place, wrong time. That's how it goes in Valorant, especially when you've got only one. You're basically relying on the luck of that person's neurons don't fire to look at you at the right time. And unfortunately, those neurons fired, and they looked at you right there. Very rough. Timing is all you have when you are that low with that little players at that point. So not much you can do. Got to just move on to next. 11-10. Orange still have the advantage here, but they cannot slip and let the Jayhawks take 2 off them here.
Yeah, and both these teams are in that weird econ spot again, right? You do not want to lose this round. If you're Syracuse, you have enough money to buy next round. But if you are Kansas, you don't, right? You have to be very careful here. You don't want to put Syracuse in a spot to put them in the winning position. But Syracuse is laying themselves perfectly for this victory, right? Aggressive on the A side again. Alt Orb in their favor. Visalt on the lock. Clearing through B site. Some sites have been spotted. Syracuse now knows they're on B or C.
And now if I'm the Jayhawks, you have to go C. You have to go C to A there. There's not really much you can do on any other site here as B, you know, is locked down. They're pushing out of B. Looks like we have 1 on C site, but Pretz gets them there. If that's the push, that's not going to go great as you got 2 pinching there. Trying to make a panini out of Jayhawk there. On the other end, see on the other side, there's 2 peeking from the other side. It's just a complete, I guess, mess when you have this many duelists in one place. Stomp gets 2. Markaris had got 1 earlier. It's a trade. And running in, gunning. Pretz gets the last one and can defuse on C for the Orange to move it to match point.
Match point for the Orange here, 12-10. Now both these rosters going to be able to full buy here. Kansas, they're in this final spot here. If you're Syracuse, do not let your foot off the pedal. Stay locked in the entire time, right? You cannot slip up. You cannot let Kansas have the opportunity to come back on top here, right? Now, once again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Keep on going, right? Keep on playing down that A site. Keep on pressuring out that Alt Orb. Use it to your advantage. Find that volume. You keep doing that, and you'll be in a very, very good spot.
And you're seeing that already. Timeout, I believe, from the Jayhawks here as they, I guess.
You got to figure it out.
You're running the wrong way here. You have to figure out what's going wrong.
Yeah.
The Orange basically own your strategy now. They've taken every single one of your advantages, ripped it away from you. Now, how do you approach this? If you're a Jayhawk, they're going to fly high and you're getting shot down low, and it's not good enough. You can't take off. You can't have the space that they need for their strategy to work. And their Teo, you see, are dying very, very early. Not enough to get use of that util anywhere on the field. But they're going to have some ultimates, and they're going to have the ability to fight for their life, I guess, here down to an off-match point. They need two to even it. They would go to overtime in that case.
4 to win.
And it'd be win by 2 at this point. Yeah. 4 to win. Depends on how many you take off of them and how many they take off of you once you get to overtime. For the Jayhawks, it's about going to overtime first.
Yeah, I mean, flying high in April, shot down in May. Kansas looking to find the value that they can here. If you're Kansas here, if I'm Kansas's coach, right? I've been Syracuse's coach, might as well be Kansas's coach at the same time, right? What do you want to do? Stop contesting the A site. Stop. because every time Syracuse goes down, they're pressuring in, and it's just working perfectly for them, flawlessly for them. They're forcing out Util, and it's going great for them here. One is already fallen. Syracuse starting off strong. Viper's Pit gonna lock down C on that rotate as well. Util being used by Kansas. Syracuse looking strong. Don't let up now.
They did exactly what they said you shouldn't do, but the Orange are now a little bit different here. They didn't get enough picks for A to not work. They did get one, so they have the advantage here. We're seeing more of a B-centric push here, but A is still in question as 2 go down for the Jayhawks. Looks like prime position for Citrus in the Sid City here, moving up on that table. Got 2, just the Omen, the Teo. No ults left, 55 seconds remain potentially in the Jayhawks' night if they can't find anything here.
Showstopper on lock as well for the side of Syracuse. 2 members remain for the side of Kansas. 43 seconds remain here. The bullets have been fired, which means they have been spotted. Teo will start putting some aggression in. Is now the Showstopper. The trade is out. It's a 1v4 here. Teo has been spotted, taken down. Syracuse will bring themselves to a 2-0 victory against Kansas, and a 1 win for Syracuse against Kansas this week.
Down go the Jayhawks. Hayabusa with the final kill, as we've seen in Game 1 and Game 2. A beautiful, beautiful way to go. 4-3. You move your match differential up a little bit. That is exactly what the Orange wanted. That was perfect. Back to 500. Let's get moving to next week, as next week, Ohio State comes in off a 2-game win streak, barring tonight's result. They're playing Nebraska or Oklahoma, one of those maroon teams. Can't remember which one, unfortunately, but it comes down to them. Now you go into the next week. You have momentum. This is exactly the foot you needed to put forward, and you needed to win this game. This was a must-win game for the rest of the season. You have to play a good Ohio State team who's hot. They haven't lost since they had to forfeit to you earlier in the season, and they're hot. And then after that, undefeated Boise State. So you have to just be ready for that. Look at next week. Don't look 2 weeks ahead right now because it's a bit scary. Those Broncos can stampede, but for the Orange tonight, skeet shooting against the Jayhawks, they win this matchup here 2-0, 13-10 and 13-10 respectively.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some close matches. You've got to give some respect to Kansas where it was deserved, right? Playing that double duelist composition, very difficult composition to play overall, right? So you don't want to ever discount that at all, right? And for Kansas, I mean, seeing them get close last semester, it was already close enough between Syracuse and Kansas with this Valorant game, and now going into this, Syracuse coming out much stronger, right? Taking that 2-0 lead instead of that 2-1 lead. And because of that, right, if you're Syracuse Valorant, you're feeling stronger. But like you said, right, Ohio State kind of like that next level up, right? And then we have Boise after that. So we'll have to worry about that when we get there. But that Ohio State game is next up. And if you're Syracuse, right, biggest thing is you've been great on the trades. I still want to see some more of this tempo advantage. That's a big thing. And I mean, this Vice, it's working out. I think maybe making a switch up, maybe trying to utilize the deadlock into that Tejo might feel really, really good. That was very strong for Kansas, right? Maybe switching up that Sentinel to find some different value. But overall, Syracuse looking strong.
Way to hang on there is the biggest thing I can say. And you got to go into next week, ping down those Ohio State players. They're probably the just happiest people in the world right now. If you missed it, Monday night, they just won the national championship over Notre Dame, so they're probably in great spirits. But before that, we've still got a Jayhawk matchup to finish. Rocket League plays tomorrow at 8:30 off stream, and Smash Bros will play at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, that's going to be all from us tonight. As I've been Carson Cass and my co-caster
Ryan Blankenhorn.
Thank you very much for tuning in, and stay around for tomorrow night.